Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. Hope you had a great Christmas with family and friends. On this week's program, we wrap up 2018 talking with Montgomery County farmer and Kansas Farm Bureau President Rich Feltz. They kick off a centennial year. We'll also have features from the Kansas Soybean Commission and Kansas Department of Agriculture, and our weekly updates from the Kansas Livestock Association and Paragon Ag Advisors. The Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919, kfb.org. Kansas Wheat Commission, leading in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online, kswheat.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future of Kansas corn. Online, kscorn.com. In agriculture news from agview.net, Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue took a look back this week at a busy year for USDA. He said his agency accomplished a lot of good things for American agriculture. He said we fought for American farmers, ranchers, and producers by delivering new and innovative trade deals like the USMCA and renegotiating Chorus, providing trade assistance as well to farmers because of illegal trade retaliation, and helped out fellow citizens through devastating natural disasters. Perdue said that he's proud to say every day at USDA they do their best to live by the motto of do right and feed everyone. He said the accomplishments include making strides toward reigning independence on government assistance by beginning the rulemaking process to move more able-bodied adults without dependence off the SNAP program and on to self-reliance. USDA also provided a broad range of assistance to residents, agriculture producers, and impacted communities at large following Hurricanes Florence and Michael in 2018. Over the last year, USDA Forest Service treated more than 3.5 million acres to reduce hazardous fuels and improve forest health through timber sales and the prescribed burns. The agency also successfully merged the Ag Marketing Service, Grain Inspection Packers and Stockyards Administration, and the Farm Service Agency's Commodity Operations Program to better meet the needs of farmers, ranchers, and producers, as well as consumers, while improving customer service and maximizing efficiencies. Well, the Agricultural Broadband Coalition is welcoming the Precision Agriculture Conductivity Act, which is included in the just signed Farm Bill. Coalition co-chair Nick Tyndall says U.S. farmers and ranchers are deploying more and more data-driven technologies and solutions on their operations, and the need for reliable broadband conductivity in the field is intensifying. This important provision, he said, highlights the need to expand broadband services, including mobile coverage to U.S. crop and ranch lands. Zippy Duvall, the president of the American Farm Bureau, said bringing together folks like USDA and the Federal Communications Commission, along with public and private stakeholders to address the needs of the precision agriculture, ensures current and future generations of farmers and ranchers will have the necessary conductivity to achieve their goals. More after this on the Kansas Ag Report. Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web, oldeseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting members' business interests and meeting consumer demands. KLA.org. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. And Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. More at ksgrainsorghum.org. Well, joining us now is Rich Feltz, who is the president of the Kansas Farm Bureau. We're, of course, in Marietta County, in the headquarters here in Manhattan. And Rich, when we are talking, the Farm Bill just got signed, and so can you believe it? We finally, we started a Farm Bill the same year and got it signed by the president.
Well, we did, and you know what an opportunity we had to be in Washington, D.C. when it finally come down to being passed by the Senate and the House. And I think a lot of relief when we were there that I'm not sure they were high fives, but mentally they were high fives. We finally got this thing accomplished.
Okay, so it's done. It's going to be implemented. We have this. We have the market facilitation program, second payment through. So at least there's a little bit more certainty now in farm country.
Well, there is some certainty, and we had the opportunity to sit down and visit with Senator Roberts right after the House had voted the other day. And you know, as I said, and he knew good and well that it's great we've got the Farm Bill, but we've got another looming issue that we've got to get resolved, and that's these trade issues that we've got around the world that are just impacting us so significantly.
It seems like, you know, China obviously is one we talk about seemingly on a daily basis, but when you look around the landscape, Rich, there's a lot of these little ones that could add up to a number. We've got to get those kind of tied up.
Well, you're completely right, and I think it's always easiest to look at the biggest first and kind of ignore some of those others. Now we're in a position we have to look at some of those smaller markets, which it appears we're doing a good job, but by the same token, we need to get at least a share of that big market that we had before.
All right, a couple other things. You know, D.C. is now off, going to be back in just a few more days to start with a new Congress, and it's been a while since we've had kind of this split leadership, the House now being run by the Democrats, Senate still by Republicans, a little bit maybe different mix.
Well, there is, and another opportunity we had when we were in D.C. last week was to be over and witness the signing of the repeal of the Waters of the U.S. and the Clean Water Act, and one of the question is just along that lines, and we know that there's a 60-day period to make comments, but the reporter's question was, okay, all of you that addressed this issue were Republicans. What happens now that we have a democratically controlled House? And that is a concern, I think, where we go. But hopefully everybody's going to be able to look a little more at the same page instead of being opposite ends like we have been.
All right. We're talking with Rich Feltz, who is the president of the Kansas Farm Bureau, and we'll have more coming up on the Kansas Ag Report. Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. And AgView.net, covering news and views in the Beef Belt and Western Corn Belt. Reliable and relevant, AgView.net.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
This Medford, New Jersey school bus runs on biodiesel, and so do these. In fact, all of these buses run on clean-burning biodiesel, which is great because the more we use biodiesel in our heavy-duty vehicles, the less carbon pollution in our air. Think how great it would be if more of our school buses ran on biodiesel. More biodiesel, less carbon pollution. More is less. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
We're joined now by Rich Feltz, who is the president of the Kansas Farm Bureau, and just a few weeks ago now, your group from all over the state met here in Manhattan for the annual meeting, kickoff to a centennial celebration.
Well, you're exactly right, Ken, and 100 years, that's quite an accomplishment, I think, for anything, and let alone an ag organization. We're very proud of that fact, and the opportunities we're going to have throughout this year to celebrate some of that 100 years. But if we think back a little bit to the founding of our organization and why it was founded and why we're here today, and we're kind of reviewing ourselves as to what we need to do to prepare ourselves for the next 100 years.
And part of that big process is not only celebrating some of those local leaders and the things they're doing, but also that group from all the counties get together and pass policy issues. Anything unique come out?
Well, not really. And Ken, it was rather low key, our policy process this year, but we attribute part of that to the fact, a big part of that to the fact that we have good sound policy. As an organization, we don't change from one year to next what our position ought to be on issues. Some of the issues, though, that we did have is there was a little questioning on transportation and highway improvement. Federal-wise, we've had some efforts in broadband and some things that we can do broadband. And I'll carry that a little farther into policy that was carried on to American Farm Bureau, and that was the cell-generated meat products and who should regulate that, how they should be labeled.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be probably a big issue coming forward. I think USDA has kind of started that process of laying that out, and so we'll know more in the coming weeks and months ahead.
Oh, yeah, no question about that. And when we were at AFBF last week and reviewing the policy to formulate for the annual meeting, there were 35 states that sent policy regarding it. So it's going to be, it's a huge issue for the industry.
Mm-hmm. Well, as we wrap up 2018 and looking to 2019, we obviously have to talk about there's challenges out on the farm. Income is down, trade issues and other things. We have a few things that are bringing certainty, but right now there are definitely some concerns.
Well, there's no question about that, Ken. The economics in agriculture aren't as dire as they have been sometimes in a recent past, but by the same token, we need to get some more revenue into agriculture. All segments of agriculture as far as that goes. It helps knowing that we have a little bit of a safety net now through the Farm Bill. If we can get some of these trade negotiations and prop up some commodity prices, it'd be more beneficial yet. But yes, there are real concerns in the country.
As you look at 2019, anything in that crystal ball of what you might see coming down the road?
Well, I don't know whether we look in production agriculture or we look in the regulatory side, but I think on the production side, it's everybody be as efficient as you can, because we're in to keep your bootstraps tightened up. It's going to be challenging, I think, even at best, if we recover some of these markets. Politically, I think we've got statewide, we know we've got a new administration that appears like they're going to be great to work with, but we've always had some taxing concerns that we don't want to get too carried away with. And in Kansas, we know there's an abundance of water issues that become challenging all the time. So not going to be a shortage of issues for agriculture.
Absolutely. Well, Rich, we appreciate it, and congratulations. Looking forward for the next year, celebrating 100 years of the Kansas Farm Bureau. So thanks.
All right. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Ken.
Rich Feltz, who is a farmer from Liberty and president of the Kansas Farm Bureau, has joined us. We'll have more coming up on the Kansas Ag Report.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Commodity Classic registration and lodging now are open online. Rooms book quickly, so register as soon as possible. The early bird deadline is January 10. The 24th annual event will be February 27 to March 2 in Orlando, Florida. The Orange County Convention Center will house most Commodity Classic events. Endorsed hotels are within walking distance or provide complimentary shuttles to and from the convention center. Registration and lodging should be arranged at commodityclassic.com on the web. To ensure favorable rates, reasonable terms, and confirmed rooms at the official Commodity Classic hotels, make your reservations through Experian. Full registration includes the opening reception, trade show access, the general and educational sessions, the American Soybean Association banquet, and the evening of entertainment. If you plan to attend the ASA Awards banquet, sign up soon because it always sells out quickly. Beginning at 6 p.m. Friday, March 1, the annual event offers dinner, awards, and entertainment and is sponsored in part by the Soybean Checkoff. Established in 1996, Commodity Classic is America's largest farmer-led, farmer-focused convention and trade show. It is a production of ASA, the National Corn, Wheat, and Sorghum Farmers Associations, and the Association of Equipment Manufacturers.
As 2018 comes to a close, all of us at the Kansas Department of Agriculture want to thank all of you across the state of Kansas who make agriculture the state's largest industry, employer, and economic driver. We know that agriculture means hard work done 24/7, 365 days a year by dedicated farmers and ranchers in all corners of Kansas, and we are proud to serve you and to advocate for you here in Kansas and throughout the nation and the world. 2018 has been an exciting time for Kansas agriculture. The statewide Ag Growth Project continues to expand, and we gathered for the 3rd Annual Ag Growth Summit in August and celebrated the many successes that have been achieved in Kansas agriculture. From our partnership in the UAS Integration Pilot Program and the creation of the Water Tech Expo and the Ag Tech Expo, to pet food industry development, new wheat research, and expanded trade mission opportunities. Great strides have been made in the livestock industry with the kickoff of the Cattle Trace Pilot Project for animal disease traceability, along with a significant expansion of secure food supply plans at cattle feeding and dairy operations across the state. And new programs created in 2018 are setting the groundwork for future growth. The Strategic Growth Initiative, part of the Governor's Land in Kansas Economic Development Initiative, will help local communities proactively connect with companies and industries which are interested in expansion in Kansas. And the new Industrial Hemp Research Program has been a hot topic for many Kansans as we begin learning how this new crop may be integrated into the Kansas agriculture landscape. At the Kansas Department of Agriculture, we are committed to serving all of Kansas farmers, ranchers, and agribusinesses, and providing an environment that encourages growth throughout the agriculture industry. We look forward to many more opportunities to work together with all of you in 2019 as we share our dedication to Kansas agriculture.
Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device, news and views on grains, livestock, policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking AgView on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow AgView News, a reliable and relevant source, agview.net.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
The Kansas Department of Agriculture, Division of Animal Health, conducted an exercise December 17th through the 20th to test the state's preparedness for a foreign animal disease event. Kansas Livestock Association staff joined KDA, other state agencies, federal and local government officials, university representatives, and a number of industry organizations in the functional exercise that involved a simulated foot and mouth disease outbreak in Kansas. In addition to those taking part at KDA headquarters in Manhattan, which served as the incident command post for the exercise, several counties activated emergency operations centers. The event was funded through a grant from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Kansas leads the nation in foreign animal disease planning, training, and exercising. Responding to a foot and mouth disease outbreak will require strong cooperation between government and private industry to stop the spread of the disease and return to normal business in the livestock industry as quickly as possible. Foot and mouth disease is a highly contagious virus affecting cattle, sheep, swine, goats, deer, and other cloven-hooved animals. Last identified in the U.S. in 1929, it is not a human food safety concern or a public health threat.
The Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Wheat Commission, leading in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online, kswheat.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future of Kansas corn. Online, kscorn.com. Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device. News and views on grains, livestock, policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking AgView on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow AgView News, a reliable and relevant source, agview.net.
Good morning, I'm Darren Van Vactor with Paragon Ag. The December report came and went pretty quietly, offering few changes and little impact on the markets. However, the markets have drifted higher regarding corn, beans, and wheat as of late. Let's take a look. Easing U.S.-China trade tensions has helped as the bean market has been pushing higher ever since the G20 summit in early December. The White House continues to display an optimistic outlook regarding trade talk, which has in turn bolstered the ag markets. As such, the government has delayed the announcement for the second wave of the farmers' aid payment until month's end. As for wheat, we've seen some recent export business bumping it out of the downward channel. As we work into the cold winter months, we may see debate surrounding winter kill on reduced or late planted acres. Looking for an opportunity to hedge some new crop risk on such a move would be prudent. Corn has continued to hold its own, pushing 30 cents off its early harvest lows. Demand has been good as we have dug into supplies and basis has improved post-harvest in most areas. March, the front month contract is sitting in striking distance of the $4 mark, making it hard to argue with getting something done at these levels. There are ways to lay off future risk without making a physical commitment or retain ownership of previously sold grain. If you have questions, we'd be happy to help. Give us a call here at Paragon Ag Advisors, 888-452-8751. I'm Darren Van Vactor. Be safe and have a great week.
The Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Wheat Commission, leading in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online, kswheat.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future of Kansas corn. Online, kscorn.com. Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device. News and views on grains, livestock, policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking AgView on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow AgView News, a reliable and relevant source. agview.net. That's our show this week. Be social with us online, KansasAgReport.net, or on Facebook and Twitter. Coming up in the year ahead, lots of exciting things in the works. We want to make sure that you're a part of it. If you're going to go celebrate the end of 2018 and look forward to 2019, be safe because we want you around. We appreciate your support as well as that of our advertisers, commodity groups, and guests. It is going well, and we thank you for all the positive feedback, and be sure to find all those social media channels to interact with us as well. So, with that, enjoy the New Year's celebration. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching the Kansas Ag Report. We'll see you next week and next year.